Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to CryptoTraders Room. This is your host, Crypto Trader, aka Jonas. And CryptoTraders Room is a place where we eat, drink, sleep, dream, trade, and invest in digital currencies. And if you're a new-time viewer, welcome. Thank you. Sorry, I had to lower down the volume. But yeah, if you're a new-time viewer, welcome and thank you for finding us. It's a pleasure to have you. And don't forget to click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification. And stay connected with us on Steemit, Twitter, as well as Facebook. And sign up for our mailing list. And you can do that by going to CryptoTradersRoom.com. And there are links at the bottom of this video. And fill out the brief questionnaire, and that will be you submitting your application for our general chat room. But yeah, crazy day in the market. Crazy day today. Uncertainty is still in play with China, Jamie Dimon, BTC Hardfork, possibly Ethereum Cash, Ethereum Hardfork. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with that? That there is a minor little support for Ethereum Cash. If you guys just Google Ethereum Cash or Ethereum Hardfork, you'll be able to find out some information on it. But as of right now, it doesn't have that much of a support, but it could as time goes on. Let's see who we got in the chat today. Martin, good morning. Welcome. Daniel, strong hands. There you are, bud. Dogecoin is 20 Satoshis. Yeah, Doge. Yeah, I wouldn't be a long-term investor in that. Not at all. Definitely not. Unfortunately, my son is. Yeah, poor Doge. But welcome and happy Friday. It is Friday. So, hopefully, aside from what's going on in this market, that you guys are having a great start to the weekend. Don't let this market stress you out. Like I've said before, sometimes you might have to just shut down your computer and, put in some low ball offers and enjoy the day. Life's too short to kind of, waste a day staring at a computer screen and watching the price drop and trying to find a good entry. You're better off just putting in that low ball offer where you see it coming down to, based on the research that you've done, based on what you've plotted out, and then kind of walk away from it. That's the best thing to do. So we're going to cover a couple cryptocurrencies, and then I'll try to do my best to answer your questions as best as I can. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at LTC real quick. I do have an order for LTC. I've had it in there for almost, 15, 16 hours at 45 bucks, because that is really, even though it's showing 44.55 as the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement, 45 was a safe bet. And it did touch 45. But unfortunately, from what I saw, there were a lot of orders at that $45. I mean, it was over 10,000 coins. So I was definitely not first in, first out. So that trade never got executed, and it's still open. It's still waiting there for 45. And I'm only purchasing a little bit. I'm not going all in. And, I've done that before. It's come back to bite me. So, the strategy that I try to follow, and I do end up breaking these strategies. I do end up breaking my rules. I'm only a human being. I don't kick myself over it. I just try to learn from it, basically. But yeah, I'm only purchasing a little bit at $45 just to kind of get my feet wet to see what it's going to do at that specific price action. If it goes up higher, that's great. I have a position, very small position. If it goes down lower, I can add to that position. So 61.8 Fibonacci retracement right at $45. That's where I feel comfortable buying. If it does dip further and it kind of gets close to that 78.6, $40, and I'll add a little bit more. And as it goes down, I'll keep adding more and more and more just to have a lower cost average. But 45 bucks, I feel comfortable buying it. It's maintained in that $45 currently right now. And you guys are probably seeing these bars, these lines, these vertical lines, and those are just basically for me to kind of break down the days, exactly see what it channeled, how did it channel within a certain price point for that very specific day. And then I drew out some vertical lines to kind of show where that trend is. So, each vertical line basically is a daily, candlestick movement on the 1 hour chart. So we kind of see exactly, within what price point is it trending within that day. So as we can see here on the 19th, it basically trended between, 51 bucks, 51.50 up to 55. That was really the trend. But yeah, it's completely broken those trends. And I thought the 50% retracement would hold up, and that's right at the $50. But of course, that didn't hold. It did break through it. Attempted to come up and really break out. But yeah, that was just a little dead cat bounce, whatever you want to call it, a little fake out. But it completely broke down. And I think, we are going to see a lot of these things. So, if I do take a position, I'm not going to be holding it long. I already have my points plotted out of what I think it's going to do. What point is it going to retrace from? And that's only a guess. You know, it could break out above that, but I feel comfortable taking a profit, you know, at those levels. So if I do get in at 45 and it gets to 50, I'm going to take some profit. You know, I'm not going to hold it past 50, expecting it to break out. Yes, it could break out to the next point of resistance, which is a 52.50. But I'm not willing to take that chance. I'd rather lock in those profits of, you know, $5 per coin. So we'll see exactly what it does. You know, if it breaks down further from where it is right now, but right now that 61.8 is holding pretty strong, and it's been holding, you know, ever since, let's see what time that was, 4 a.m. So 4 a.m. it did dip right to that 45.18. But it held it. It really has held it so far, and it hasn't dropped below that 45. It could easily drop below it. So we'll kind of see exactly what it does. But that 61.8, you know, if you've been waiting to take a little bit of position, you know, just to kind of get your feet wet, to have a little bit of position to see what it does, that's not a bad entry. All right, let me get to some of the comments, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at BTC or Ethereum. One of those. What price point would I say BTC is a strong buy? We're going to cover BTC. So we'll take a look at the retracements and possibly where it could retrace to. But now we got to remember, there's a lot of things that are affecting BTC, you know, especially towards the end of the month with all the exchanges basically shutting down unless something changes, the BTC hard fork. So it's going to be tough to try to determine where that bottom could be. All you could do is basically just take a little bit of a position at key levels of support to see what it does. And if it, you know, has a nice uptick, then to be able to take a profit. But, you know, we're going to take a look at LTC for you, Daniel. Orca, good morning. Rocky Mountain, good morning, bud. Hope all is well. Secure Zone. Looks like BTC is about to make a big move to the upside. I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, you know, and if it is going to have a nice move to the upside, it'll move up 100 to 200 bucks. And then it might have a correction. That's kind of what we've been seeing. You know, it's just been continuously downtrending. And on BTC, we're actually going to take a look at this on a bigger overall picture as well, too. Aside from, you know, the Fibonacci retracement that I've already plotted out there, and that Fibonacci retracement just kind of goes from, you know, the low that it's set recently with all this FUD to the gains to, you know, the upward movement that it had. And really that movement was right up to about 41.30-ish, let's just say. From that low of 29.75. So if we do the Fibonacci retracement just for those price action movement from that low to this little current high that is set, that 61.8 puts it right at 34, right around 34. But you know, she could dip further than that, depending on what's happening with this, with the hard fork and a lot of other uncertainty with BTC. A lot of profit taken, you know, that we're possibly going to be seeing. But I mean, you know, for me to actually play this, I mean, I have an alarm set for 3,000. I doubt it's going to, you know, if we do drop and we drop heavily, I mean, you know, we could easily drop to, you know, that 78.6, which puts it right at 3,000, 3,200 bucks basically. But if we do our Fibonacci, you know, basically just on the overall chart on the, actually we can't do the 1 day. Yeah, I forgot about that big 6-cent fake drop that it had. All right, so we'll do a Fibonacci from about 1,200 bucks, 1,200 bucks to the all-time high that is set. So 1,200 bucks to right about, you know, 4,980 bucks. That 61.8 retracement would put it right at 2,657 bucks. That's where that would put it. Now, if we do take a look at let's go ahead and take a look at Bitfinex, because then we can take a look at really the overall from beginning to end. Yeah, at least on Bitfinex, I can take a look at the overall chart instead of having to worry about that big dip that it had. So we'll take a look at, let's see how far I can zoom out on the 2 days or the 3-day chart. I'm going to go ahead and clear everything out just to kind of start out fresh. So we won't take this back all the way down to 162 bucks. That's way too much to kind of take it back down to. So we'll take it, the Fibonacci retracement from right about here where it kind of leveled out, and that would be right around the 560 bucks, 570 bucks. So 61.8 would put it right at 2,256 bucks. Remember that this is a long shot. We're looking at the overall picture. This is for somebody that wants to be patient and then kind of wait for it to come to them. I doubt it's going to get to that level, but you know, with all this uncertainty, everything that's basically happening, you know, the people that are going to be possibly panicking at every little red candlestick that they see, and that selling intensifies, then yeah, it's a huge possibility, you know, for it to possibly get to that level there, 2250. It's a huge drop, that's for sure. It's a big drop. Daniel, your massive buys at 3,300 for BTC. You know, and that's not a bad buy at all. I mean, that's not bad. You know, before we had that dip down to under 3,000, you know, I was looking at 3,000, possibly anywhere from 3,200 to 3,000. I didn't take advantage of it though. I was looking at other opportunities. But yeah, 3,200 to 3,000. I mean, you can't go wrong. You know, those aren't bad levels at all to play. And yes, and if it does dip further, that's all right. I mean, you were patient enough to kind of wait for it to get to those levels, and you didn't buy here and have it dip to that, you know, 3,200. So if you buy at 32, 33, it dips to 3,000. You know, it'll get back up there. So many of the scam YouTube channels never want to talk about BTC, only their special altcoins. Yeah, it's been hard for me to watch a lot of the YouTubers. So I really can't comment on what they're talking about. But yeah, I mean, you know, usually, you know, if somebody's heavily, I kind of look at this with a grain of salt anytime somebody's talking about a specific cryptocurrency, and that's really what they're covering heavily. You know, there's a motive, there's a reason behind it. So they're looking out for their interest. But yeah, you know, I think, you know, before I go to bed, if I don't get into LTC is still above that 45, 46 bucks now. There is a massive sell wall though of 7,000 right at 46 bucks. So we'll see how that gets handled. But you also do have a big buy wall, but that buy wall is only a little over 1,000. And I'm looking at GDAX for those buy orders. But yeah, so the price on BTC, the price on LTC right now on GDAX could just really hover in this range for a little while, with the big seller at 46 and then a somewhat of a big buyer at 45.99. Unless somebody budge, you know, and I don't think any of these guys or any of these traders are going to budge. They're going to keep that order there, or it'll stay at these levels, you know, 45.99, 46 until those sell orders or buy orders are completely off the book. SE, yes. Good morning, buddy. Friday dip, man. Like this is like deja vu. You know, we'll see if this trend kind of continues, and we know, hey, you know what? Let's wait for Friday to buy this. If you're not already in it and it's going up, but yeah, Fridays it seems like it's dipping. Let's see, Orca. Does my technical analysis also involve trend analysis? Yeah, we can do trend analysis, and I've done those in the past. EU, I don't know what the EU is. Harmonic pattern, no, I don't know what that is. No, I don't really trade according to Fibonacci retracement. And we've kind of talked about this in the past, to be honest with you. I rarely use Fibonacci retracement. You know, let's go ahead and I'll tell you guys, you know, how I look at things. Okay, let's get rid of the Fibonacci retracement and we'll take a look at, let's take a look at LTC, actually BTC on one-day chart on Bitfinex. Or maybe 1 hour chart. Let's see, a little 2 hour chart. All right, so basically what I'll do is, and I'm going to get rid of the chat here. So I'll basically, go ahead and plot out my own support and resistance. So I won't even look at the Fibonacci retracement until I plot out what I needed to plot out. And then I can kind of determine, based on the Fibonacci retracement, if what I plotted out is viable. So first what I'll do is I'll go ahead and plot out where I see, if I can get this to cooperate with me, where the resistance is possibly going to be. So I would see a resistance here at 44.76, or let's just say 45, just to make the math easy. So right around there is going to be a resistance. And I'll go all the way down till I get, till I start plotting out the support. So basically, I'm just taking my cursor and looking to see where majority of the price action has happened, where a majority of the battle between the bears and the bulls has happened, because that will give me some sort of an indicator that, there has been strong support at this level. There has been a lot of fighting between the bears and the bulls for price action. And that's either going to determine whether it's a support line or it's going to be a resistance. If the bears win, it's a resistance. If the bulls win, it's a support. I might have to actually get out of this and look at maybe a 6-hour chart, because I need to be able to look at the past history as well too. All right, that 4100 is going to be also a resistance. That's going to be a support. And the reason why that's a nice support is because that's a previous peak that it had set before it came down. And then when it did come down from that 49.70, it basically, rebounded right from 3,000. So 3,000 is a very good support line. And then when it did break through it, it only broke through it for a little bit. It didn't sustain that break and keep breaking or even really maintain under 3,000 where it was consolidating. It came right up with a vengeance, hardcore. So that's a very good support line. So basically what I want to do is kind of work my way up from that level and not really worry about anything below 3,000. Later on, I can take a look at that. All right, so then right here, we got another support line, and that's very close to the current price that it's at. So, current price 36.10, support right under 3,500. Now, if it breaks that, next support is possibly going to be 3,000, because really we don't have too much price action, especially if we're looking at the 6-hour chart. So then we really have to get a little granular to see exactly the battle that happened when she crashed to 29.80 and then when she came back up. So right around 32. 32 would be somewhat of a good support line for it. If it does crash to 3,500, if it crashes to 3,500, 32 will be the support. So that's really all that I'm going to plot out currently right now. I mean, I do take a look at this into a lot more detail if I'm just sitting here analyzing it myself. So then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and take a look at the trend as well too. So I got my resistance plotted out. We'll go ahead and plot out the trend. And then I'll use a Fibonacci retracement to kind of see if, my what I plotted out on the support and the resistance kind of matches up with the Fibonacci retracement. But you got to remember too, it's not a set of rule that every trader, gets in at that 61.8. Or, not every trader will sell at that 31. So, some do, some don't. So you gotta really take that with a grain of salt. So really we got to get, if we're going to draw a trend line, we got to draw it from the 29.80. So let's go ahead and put out a couple of trend. And actually I need to get a little more granular on this to see exactly what happened. So there was our first trend, and it completely broke through it. So then, of course, it's going to be forming a new trend. So if you already have this trend drawn out, if you're already in this position and you saw the price action movement, especially when it bounced off the 3,500 after it retraced a little bit and it started going up and you drew your retracement there, I'm sorry, if you drew out your trend line, your upward trend line, and it broke that trend line, that would have told you to get out. That would have said, you know what, let me lock in the profit, or at least half of the profit, see what it does. And it completely broke down from there. Now, my other trend that I would have drawn out, I mean, it would be a little tough because it really didn't maintain much. I mean, it consolidated it and broke down, consolidated it and broke down. It didn't really have an upward trend to the upside. And there's our downward trend. So we had the upward trend that it completely broke, got our downward trend that is still maintaining within this downward trend. And I only took that from the, I mean, we're only taking a look at a very short time frame. We're not looking at the overall chart. But you could really do this with any time frame. And if I was looking at the overall chart, of course, that trend, on the downward slope would start at 4,980, whatever the high was. But since we're only looking at this very granular on the 30-minute chart, that high would go right around 4120, 4180, whatever it is. So it's still downtrending, and it will still probably continue to downtrend until it finds a direction to get up above this trend line. Once it gets up above this trend line and it really starts heading up, then that's going to be where your new upward trend will form, and it has to stay within that upward trend line. And if it breaks it, that should tell you to lock in some profits, especially if it breaks that trend hardcore and it doesn't just break it and then come right back up. And that's one of the biggest things, is that sometimes they will break the trend. They'll come down below it a little bit, but then they'll get right back up and hover within that trend. So then let's go ahead and zoom out of this, maybe the 1 hour, and plot out our Fibonacci retracement. So then we can kind of see, if the support and resistance that I plotted out, were they accurate? Were they good? Because to be honest with you, if I'm not at my computer, if I'm not sitting there analyzing this, I need to be able to take a look at the chart and the candlesticks and the price action within those candlesticks and determine what is the support, what is the resistance. I can't draw out those support and resistance lines on my iPhone or the iPad, whatever I'm on, if I'm out running around. So by being able to look at the chart, I'm able to pinpoint, not to a T. I mean, that's hard. I mean, we're only human beings. Be able to somewhat pinpoint where the support might be, and then I'll place a trade on my phone based on what I see. So I try not to rely on a lot of these indicators, to be honest with you. If I relied on the Fibonacci retracement all the time to tell me, the percentage of the retracement, because really all it's telling you is where the support might be based on the retracement of the percentage. That's really all that is telling you. It's not telling you, anything else. I can do that just by looking at the chart, and especially if you've been looking at the chart for years and years and years, you're able to pinpoint those things. So let's see, a little under 3,500, where I said was the support was, the Fibonacci retracement brings it right down to 3,430 bucks. It's probably going to be off a little bit because I wasn't able to plot out the 0% right at 2980. It's up above 2980 a little bit. Actually, it's up to 3,000 is 100%. So that Fibonacci retracement would come down just a little further, but 3,420, 3,400, that's where they're saying that 6,180 is, based on this current price action movement that we've had, from the 15th, not looking at really the overall chart. But yeah, that's kind of what I do and what I look at. And if it breaks a trend, if it's still within that trend, you're good. If it breaks that trend, you want to try to find an entry, and to be able to find that entry, you got to plot out where the support is. If you don't know where the support is, you're not able to get a good entry. Yes, you'll get an entry and it'll crash below your entry. And if you're patient enough, it'll come right back up. If you're not patient and you panic and sell, then you got it at a bad time. So to be able to plot out where your support is, you're able to try to find a somewhat of a good entry. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. Try to answer some of your questions. And then yeah, BTC. Let's see, what is BTC doing? 3,600 bucks. So it did come down to 35.20 on Bitfinex. So it's not crashing hardcore. It is having a nice little push to the upside, and that's because I know a lot of people probably think, what, this is the bottom. I'm going to get in here, and it happens not to be the bottom. It has a nice little uptick, which is a fake out, and then it breaks through those levels again. Buy on Friday and sell on Wednesday. That might be a good philosophy, I see. Yeah, definitely follow that trend and see if that trend follows. Yeah, I forget what it was last Saturday. Last Saturday, I had a soccer game to go to for my son, and then a bunch of other stuff going on. So I kind of forget what the price action was like on Saturday. So is Friday the best time to buy, or is Saturday the best time to buy? No, Orca, I don't use Elliott waves. I don't use a lot of indicators that are out there. Why is 10x mooning today? I don't know. Maybe you can tell me. I don't really follow 10x, but we can take a look at the chart. After we take a look at F, we'll take a look at 10x. Violet, let's see. Good evening, by the way. Is using the ATR indicator a good idea? ATR indicator I've never heard of. So if you can clarify what the ATR acronym stands for, I might have an idea. But just remember, a lot of these indicators can be misleading, and a lot of whales do play them to their advantage. So you got to be very careful. Whales will play Fibonacci retracement to their advantage. So be careful. All these indicators are not set in stone, so that's why you want to take a look at all different indicators on different time frames to kind of have an idea. What will happen if and when DPRK moves to BTC to get around sanctions? What is DPRK? If it's a coin, I'll take a look at it. I've never heard of it. LTC 47 bargain, I would say 45 for a little bit of an entry. I had an order for 45 and it touched 45, but I wasn't first in, first out. So that order didn't get executed. It's still sitting there. It's been sitting there for about 18 hours, 20 hours. Yes, I will do 10x. Ali, welcome, by the way. Maybe if 10x is moving, we'll take a look at it. Okay, DPRK, North Korea. Or South Korea. I don't think North Korea. Is it North Korea? Yeah, that's going to be bad if North Korea is going to be controlling BTC prices. Then there'll definitely be sanctions against BTC. To be honest with you, maybe Jamie Dimon has some inside information to say that the government, will. His exact words. I don't think it was verbatim, but it was something to the extent of, government will shut down BTC or cryptocurrency if they get too big. I think it's gotten big already. But yeah, if they move BTC, to North Korea, then yeah, that could be bad. Scott, thanks, by the way. Thanks for the text, bud. So 10x is up 42%. You pounded that like button. I like that, GST author. Pound that like button. So what was the news on 10x? Something about a card, a Visa card. I think a lot of cryptocurrencies are trying to do that now. But yeah, this got beat down for so long. It really did. But let's get out of that big crash on the first day of being listed. But this is a huge retracement, big retracement. And I was never interested in 10x. But if I was and I was being patient and I kind of saw this as continuously just downtrending, I would have probably put an order in if I was interested in this. I would have probably tried to buy at this high of this candlestick here. And that high was right around 46,779. So probably 47,000 would have been a good entry if you're following 10x and you're interested in 10x. I've only looked at it periodically here and there, never was really interested in it. But, really that's the level that I would have been looking at to play, because that's really one of the bare bottom support. And the other bare bottom support would have been somewhere in the range of 25,000 Satoshis. So if you got this at 47,000 Satoshis, dude, that's the entry of a lifetime. But, the thing is, how high can this actually go? So then where is the support? I'm sorry, where is the resistance on this? Maybe taking a look at the 1 hour will give us a better indication. So it basically, it blew through that 62,000. 62,000, I would have said would have been a resistance for it. Yeah, that's just a big move. Way too fast, way too quick. If you weren't already in this, I don't know. I don't personally, I wouldn't get in it unless it retraces. That's just way too big of a move. So it blew through that 62 of the first resistance. Second resistance should be right around 74. And then 90,000, possibly 90,000. So that's really the areas of resistance that it's going to have. Now, if it's good news that's out and it's not being fluffed, then yeah, this could go higher. If it's being fluffed and people know that it's being fluffed, they'll sell into this rally. They'll sell this hardcore. So you definitely want to be careful. If you have those profits, be happy, lock them in, enjoy your weekend. Because anything that goes up massively this high, these are only 1 hour candlesticks. This is way too fast, way too fast. But very good profit for anybody that caught this, anywhere under 50,000 Satoshis. If you're watching it, of course. Or you had the lowball offers in the book. So that tweet too, just remember, Twitter accounts can be hacked. If anybody hacked a Twitter account, they can take a picture of a Visa logo, with 10x logo on there, and then take a picture of it and put it up. So yeah, I would wait for I don't know if they put out a press release or if it was just that tweet. If they put out a press release, then yeah, I would say sure. It's new. It's not FUD that's being spread, or fake news that's being spread. But yeah, for somebody to just take a picture and Photoshop something and put it up on the site, yeah, they're just they're misleading traders. I'm trying to see if anything got beat down like crazy today, or if anything's being pumped and dumped. He uses the crypto forest, no charts needed. No, you definitely need candlesticks. You need charts. But you should be able to look at them and say, you know what, this is a very good support here, instead of having to really plot out the lines. But yeah, I mean, if you look at a chart and look at candlesticks and, you zoom out and look at all different time frames, later on, it becomes very easy to spot those things out. Yeah, and I'm just taking a look at this because it was up 50-something percent. Volume isn't too bad, but yeah, why is this up as well too? Yeah, I don't mess with any of these coins, guys. I stick to what I know. I stick to what I'm comfortable with, to things that aren't gonna, cause me to lose sleep overnight. Theo HX, good morning, welcome, or good evening, depending where you are. Do I ever take a look at total market cap in comparison to the coins over time? Like last time the cap was 125 billion. What was the price of each coin? This may show where the support is. I have taken a look at overall market cap to kind of show where the major supports are, where the major support is going to be for the overall market cap. I don't look at market cap in the sense of per coin, to be honest with you. And that could be very misleading to a lot of people. I mean, we'll take Ripple as an example. Ripple's got a market cap of 6 billion. Should it have a market cap of 6.5 billion? No, definitely not. Definitely not. It's because they got 38 billion coins out there. So, I mean, let's think about it. Let's, when they actually had 100 billion coins out there. I think at one point it was 100 billion coins out there. Yeah, their market cap would be huge. So and they're going to be adding coins on. They're going to be flooding the market. You'd probably, I don't know what, 1 to 2 billion at a time per year, per quarter, whatever it is. They're not very transparent in regards to that. So the more coins that they're going to be dumping onto this market on an annual basis or whatever it is, that's going to raise the market cap, and the market cap will keep going higher and higher and higher. So yeah, I don't look at market cap. It can be very misleading. But what I do take a look at is really the overall market cap. And let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. So I'll take a look at the overall market cap, and I've looked at this before on prior streams to kind of talk about, where the support is in the sense of the overall market cap. So, we had a nice peak up here, which was about $113.3 billion market cap. Now, if she was going to retrace and have a crazy sell-off, that would be the first area of a major support. And she got down to 111,000. So I do look at market cap and the total market cap in the sense of, where is the major support and where's the other support if it does decide to break it. So let's just say hypothetically, we break 115, which we're over 115 now, 120 something. And she actually, next support really is going to be this bottom that she made here, $111.2 billion. So if she breaks $111.2 billion, next support is really going to be right around 100 billion. So I'll kind of take a look at that. And as a market cap increases, then that alts and BTC and everything else should be increasing. And as long as you have a handful of coins that you're following, that as the total market cap kind of bottoms out and starts to go up, that alts and BTC, will tend to go up as well too. But yeah, I never look at total market cap per coin. And Ripple is definitely an example of that. $10x Visa rumor. So is that basically what it is? It's just a rumor. So I mean, yeah, things can move on a rumor. They definitely can move big time on a rumor. And all it takes is just, like I said before, a will to kind of push it up a little bit, give it a little bit of a push. And I gave the analogy with my son riding a bike or learning how to ride a bike when those training wheels came off. He really couldn't stabilize the bike. He had to get momentum, had to get a little bit of a push. And once he got that momentum, then he was able to start riding on his own. And I kind of talk about, some of these cryptocurrencies where they just get a little bit of a push from a whale. And that push is just enough to draw in some attention from a lot of traders where they see, that the volume is increasing, the price action is increasing. They start hopping into it. And then that just causes a domino effect of the price action rising. North Korea is threatening a hydrogen bomb over the Pacific. Yeah, they've been putting a lot of threats out. That's I don't think that's anything new. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, on 10x. Yeah, if we look at the overall chart, I mean, first of all, I mean that's just way too big. That's way too big of a move. 1 day chart. Yeah, I won't say, to be honest with you, looking at this, I wouldn't say that it's broken trend until it actually gets up to. All right, that's the first one. That's our second one. And then it has to get above 95. Now, if it can maintain, above these downward trend lines and get up to 95, then, you have a better shot of this really being a sustained move. And that's only on the 1 hours. I'm sorry, on the 1 day. So then if we get a little more granular on the 30-minute, maybe 5 minutes, see a better price action movement. And that's as long as Bittrex cooperates. Sometimes it just doesn't like to. Yeah, this type of parabolic move can only, there's only one outcome to this. It's not going to just keep going up and up and up and start breaking, 100,000 Satoshis. She's going to retrace. She's going to have a retracement. Buyers are going to run out of things to buy, or they're going to run out of capital. So then what happens? The people that have been buying down here, once price action kind of slows down, now they start selling because they see that the trend is going to be changing. And the trend has really changed. 1 minute maybe chart. So, we're not seeing an upward slope. We're seeing more of a consolidation, trying to find some sort of direction. But yeah, this thing could go any way. And since it's been up so high, so fast, it can only really go one way. And it's probably going to test out some of these support lines. And that support line of 55,000 where I would probably be patient for. Now, will it get there? Who knows? But if I was interested in 10x, I would be patient, kind of wait for that to see if it maintains that level or breaks through that level. If it's just rumor that's being spread. If it's fake news rumor, then it's going to drop. Buy the rumor and sell the news, especially if 10x comes out and says, no, we had nothing to do with that. Our Twitter account was hacked. Then, yeah, you'll see this thing come crashing back down. Orca. It's Jonas instead of Jonas. Yeah, spelled with a Y, pronounced with a Y. But a lot of people will spell it with a J and pronounce it with a J. Full-time trader, man, I used to be. Not a full-time trader as I want to be. Maybe I should drop a beat to that. But no, I'm a full-time dad. I like to trade full-time, but sometimes that doesn't happen as much as I would like it to. So I've kind of turned into a part-time trader recently. As my kids are getting older, they require a lot more things now. And my 18-month-old is a lot more mobile, getting into things that he shouldn't be getting into. So yeah, I used to be a full-time trader. And I still want to be a full-time trader, but yeah, sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. And how long have I been doing this for? Man, I mean, if you're talking about cryptocurrency, I bought my first Bitcoin. Well, not really a whole Bitcoin, but I bought some at, when was that? February of 2014. So that was my first involvement in cryptocurrency. But been basically just, trading full time basically ever since when I started the live streams. Like February, beginning of March. But traded the financial market for like 13 years. The traditional financial market, that's a complete scam that Jamie Dimon is involved in. OMG, I do like OMG, and I'm waiting for OMG. Let me look at it on my other chart. I will take a look at BTS as well as, I've never heard of XZC, but yes, we can definitely take a look at that. Where's OMG on this? I know it's on Crypto Watch. And it looks like they've added a couple of other cryptocurrencies, which is good. But I think they took OMG off, unfortunately. Or am I not seeing it right? IOTA's there. Okay, OMG. And OMG, before this drop, I was actually waiting for 750. I had an order for 750, and then I canceled 750 to put an order in for something else, and I wish I didn't. Um, I would have been happy with that 750 price point. And then, of course, I mean, we already have, I've traded this before. I've looked at this. We already know where the support is, where the resistance is, or at least the resistance. We know where the resistance is. So, if I got in at 750, $11, I would have been out, completely out. I wouldn't have been in this trade. I mean, I got out of this trade. Let's see. I sold at 1250 and then I sold at 1350 before we had this crazy dip here. So I sold a little bit at 1250 and then the rest of it was executed. And reason why I got executed was, and I wasn't even watching it, I just had a sell order in the book. It was right over here on this candlestick. And I forget what was the news that came out. Oh, the news was that they were listed on Poloniex. That was the news that came out about OMG that caused it to rise. And it went up high. But on CoinMarketCap, I don't think it shows that it's listed on Poloniex. Oh, it does. Okay, it does. But yeah, but that was the reason why it went up to $13.70. I was at $13.50, and then I had that order at $7.50 to buy it. But I mean, this thing could really come down. I mean, with the overall market really dropping, where would be a safe place to buy this? We know that 650 is a good support. So now would I wait for 650 and hope that it hits? Probably not. If it does come down, but we don't start really cracking below the lows that they have already set after all the FUD that China was trying to spread and really kick BTC and every other cryptocurrency down to the ground. That level would be right over here at this candlestick. That's probably where I would put my order in. The low of this candlestick was 672, 675 is probably an order that I would put in. So anything under 7 would be a good bet to get it in this trade. Right now, though, I mean, we really don't know with the price action how it's going to be dictated. We're still downtrending. If you look at the overall chart from the 13 down, from the 13 all the way down, to the current level that it's at, it's still downtrending on the overall chart. But we are having these nice little massive moves to the upside. So I would wait. I would wait for this until we, unless you can get a confirmation that, okay, this is starting to break, the 50-day moving average, and it's getting close to breaking the 100-day moving average. Now that's giving you a clear confirmation that we are on an uptrend. We are breaking key levels of moving averages. Until that happens, even on the 1 hour chart, I mean, we're still way below that 50-day moving average. So that 50-day moving average does play a key role in whether, the uptrend is good or the uptrend is bad. And if it just, sometimes they'll touch it and break right back down. So right on this candlestick here, it basically almost touched it and broke back down. So sometimes they will get close to it and break back down. You really won't know that it's a good confirmed breakout unless it completely breaks out above that 50-day moving average, which that 50-day moving average right now is 875, somewhere in that range. If it gets to 874, 876 and breaks down, we know that, there's still possibly more of a downtrend to happen. So, locking in profits at those 50-day moving averages, considering that's where they like to break down from, will be somewhat, of an area for you to kind of look at, especially on the 1 hour. So on the 30 minutes, let's try to zoom in here a little better. So on the 30 minutes, we have our 10-day moving average has crossed the 50-day moving average. And our 7-day moving average is still pretty low, but the price action is above it. So really, this could go any way. It could really go any way until this really has a confirmed breakout and nice separation, above that 50-day moving average. I would still say, there's possibly more of a downtrend to happen. There's still a lot of uncertainty. It can't really find that price action direction that it wants to. Nobody's winning this battle yet. The bears aren't winning, the bulls aren't winning. everybody's kind of on the, let's sit and kind of wait approach to see exactly, what's going to happen with all this crazy news that's possibly going to be spread. Especially September 30th with, the remaining exchanges being shut down, mining operations, having issues with the government of China. Jamie Dimon and his remarks. A lot of people think, Jamie Dimon is doing this to, crash the price so they could buy more. I wouldn't doubt it if they're buying, but, they don't want people to leave the financial market, the traditional financial market. That's a scam that we all know. They don't want people to gravitate to cryptocurrency. That's a lot of money that would be taken out of the financial market and coming into a decentralized environment. That's not what they want. His motive is to grow his company share, to grow the company that he's currently working for, and to grow that per share price. So money flowing out of stocks going into cryptocurrency is not a good thing at all. Not a good thing for the government. Not a good thing for financial institutions. Not a good thing for the economy as a whole. All right. So what was the other one? BTS. Matthew, good morning, buddy. Hope all's well. Byte shares. I don't know. I still don't trust Byte shares. I don't think the developers have a good, or the owners have a good motive, especially when they spread that FUD, or I shouldn't say FUD, fake news. If a company's willing to spread fake news, to get the price to move up, then what else are they willing to do? That's why I like Charlie Lee. He's not out there to pump LTC. I mean, I don't think he can care less if LTC is $100, $1,000, as long as it's stable. That's probably all that he cares about. But yeah, this thing is still getting beat up. Still getting beat up. Yeah, I don't even know if it's worth it to look at this. Is this the bottom? I mean, to me, it looks like the bottom. And it looks like, it's possibly on the 1-day candlestick. Is it going to start to flatten out from here on? Or is it still going to continue to downtrend? That's something that time will tell. But it's definitely has broken below key levels, but bare bottom support that I would even look at, would be right up here. And it completely broke that. It'd be like the 1,560 or even the 1,800 would be like the bare bottom support, and it completely crashed through it. So yeah, there's nothing fundamentally, nothing technically good about this, except that, it's gotten beat up. And if you're willing to hold out and buy something that's been beat up, so bad that eventually it comes back up, unless they just completely crash and burn and, don't exist anymore. I don't know if that will be the case. But yeah, if you do end up getting in this, be prepared to hold long term, or be prepared to sell on the next possible pump if it does get pumped. And if it does get pumped, I mean, maybe it'll get pumped to like 3,700 from this current level that it's at now. But yeah, this is nothing impressive at all. XZC, Zcoin. Orca, I'm not sure on which cryptocurrency you're talking about, the symmetrical triangle. All right, they're on Bittrex. Let's take a look at Bittrex. XZC. So I'm assuming you have a position in this, and that's probably why you wanted me to look at it. You want me to say something about the 10X and Visa? I don't know what you want me to say about it. I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah, volume has been increasing. Volume has definitely been increasing. But yeah, so one thing to kind of look at is, when you have, and we do have, basically a lot of buying pressure, on these candlesticks here. So the volume bar has definitely indicated that there's a lot of buying pressure that happened within those days. And we see 1, 2, 3. Now, what we're seeing after, we get these big surge in volume is that, volume starts to die down. And when volume starts to die down, the price action will retrace. So that's something to definitely keep an eye on, really with anything that you're trading, especially if massive volume just comes in out of nowhere. Is it a mini pump and dump? And then are the wells, whoever, the organizer of the pump and dump is, are they going to maintain that price? And it looks like, if this is a pump and dump, that, they don't want to just pump it very shortly and have it completely crash. That they want to pump this a little more. So they're going to maintain that price. They'll pump it, they'll dump a little bit, but then they'll maintain that price. Let's just say 217,000 Satoshi. So it doesn't break below 200,000 Satoshis. And they can easily do that by putting up a huge wall. Sometimes they kind of buy into their dump. But yeah, when you see these huge volume surges and then you see that volume is decreasing and you got in at a very good price, start taking profit because it is going to retrace. And then you can really channel this and then say, okay, you know what? Volume now is starting to increase, and you can kind of see where volume bottomed out at this red candlestick here. And then slowly but surely, the volume starts to increase a little bit more, and then you get a big surge in volume again. And that big surge causes a nice price increase, and then volume starts to die down where it does have either some sort of consolidation or a retracement. But yeah, I don't know what the deal is with Zcoin that is having a nice price action move. And it seems like it found that good support, even though she broke through what I would have thought would be a good support, and that good support that I would assumed would have been 235,000 Satoshis, which would have been the high right up here, or where it kind of had a hard time breaking out above it, where prior resistance becomes current support. That's where I would have thought support would have been, and this kind of showed us here that that is a good support. But then when she came down here, she broke through it. But yeah, I don't know. This might be a good play, but I wouldn't hold this too long. As you can see, she likes to get pumped up for a couple days, and then she likes to crash. Gets pumped up, she likes to crash. So this could be the time where she is going to have a nice upward move again. I don't know to what levels, but I wouldn't get too greedy with this. If she does start making new highs and start breaking out above key resistance levels, I wouldn't stay in this too long at all, because history has shown us that she likes to go up. But also, over time, she does like to grind back down. So the red line is a 50-day moving average. Really, it all depends what you're looking at. On Crypto Watch, yeah, they don't see. I like to color coordinate it, to be honest with you. That's usually what I like to do. So the only way to kind of tell is, for me, I know that this is the 10, or the orange is a 10, the blue is the 20, the purple is a 50, the green is 100, and the purple is 200. But if you're just getting into charting, that's going to be very confusing unless you can color code it yourself. And on TradingView, you can color code that yourself. On Crypto Watch, you cannot. So the only way to really find out, what these moving averages are and try to have it embedded into your head of the color coordination is to take a look at. So we have the SMA, we have the 10, 21, 50, 100, and 200. All you got to do is just really delete the 50 and see which color goes away. Purple goes away, so you know that the 50 is a purple. I know for a fact that 200 is a blue line. I take that away, the 200 is gone. So that's really the only way to kind of find out if you're not familiar with the color coordination of how the website is doing it, just to take it off and add it back on, and then that will tell you. And the more that you use it, the more that it's going to be embedded into your head. Which one is the smaller moving average and which one is the biggest one. But yes, the purple one is the 50-day moving average. So LTC does not look like it's going to bottom out at that 45. And I'm still waiting for that $45. Matthew, crazy shit going on in the world. Dude, it's nonstop. It's nonstop. I try not to watch the news too much because it's all bad news. I'll skim the headlines and that's about it. It all depends, Essie, how you're going to set them. So, you know, orange is not necessarily 7 days. Now, the orange is going to be the smallest day, and the blue is going to be the second smallest day. So, I mean, really, you could set those moving averages any way you want. Let's go back to it. So right now I have mine set for 1020. You know, but if I'm looking to exit out of a trade, I'm going to lower the two smaller moving averages. You know, I might do 5 and 10 or 7 and 17. So if we do 5 and 10, you know, that's just going to move your moving averages a little more close in line to the actual price action movement of the candlesticks. And that's only if you're looking to get out of a trade, to be honest with you. If you're not looking to get out, then, you know, you want to look at a larger time frame. But yeah, so, you know, the way to look at it is the blue is the smallest one. The orange is the smallest one. The blue is the second smallest. And then the purple is the third, and then so on and so on. But yeah, I usually just kind of leave the 50, 100, and 200 the same. I'll only really change up, you know, the two smaller moving averages to either 717, 715. Really, you got to play around with it, to be honest with you, and see what works for you. And if you're in the process of getting out of a trade, then those are the two that you want to probably look at. And to see that, you know, if the second moving average of 21 days crosses over the 50, then you should definitely be locking in some of the profits. All right, I got about a couple more minutes left on this. So throw some questions at me if you do have any questions. So as we can see right now on GDAX, BTC, and we're looking at the one-day candlestick in regards to our moving averages. So I mean, we're way above the 200, way above the 200. And people do play these on the longer term, you know. So somebody that's not a trader, somebody that's not in front of their computer, somebody that's just kind of I don't know, you know, a new trader, you know, if they want to put in a low ball offer, you know, and they understand the moving averages, more than likely what they would do is what I would do, knowing what I know now, is, you know, play the moving averages. If I'm going to put in a low ball offer and not really look at it, I would put in a low ball offer for that 2450, 2500, because that is where the 200-day moving average is. You know, if you want to be a little aggressive and you're actually going to watch this a little more than somebody that's going to be putting in an order at the 200-day moving average, then the 100-day moving average, which would be right at 3294, 3290, let's just say. But as we can see right now, our 7-day, I think that's how I have it set. Let me make sure. 10 and 21. So we can see our 10-day moving average in the orange has crossed below the 21-day moving average or 20-day moving average. And it's also crossed below our 50-day moving average. Now our 20-day moving average or 21-day moving average has not crossed below the 50, but it is in the process of crossing below the 50. And as we can see with the trend, you know, it's trending downwards. It's not curving up. It's not uptrending. So, you know, this indicates to me that, you know, if this crosses the 50, we're in a little bit more trouble than we need to be. And I would be very, very cautious that there could be more of a downtrend, especially if that 21-day moves below our 50-day moving average. And then, you know, if our 7-day moving average and 21-day moving average gets close to this, you know, 100-day moving average, and it's about to diverge, then watch out. I mean, we can get a big drop, you know, because people do use these moving averages as somewhat as a support and resistance. There are traders that will play these as support and resistance, you know, so they'll buy, you know, at this moving average, at the 100-day moving average. And then as it's going up and our moving averages are separating, you know, they'll sell at those moving averages. They'll use those as a support and the resistance. But yeah, this is still not looking good. Definitely not looking good, in comparison to our moving averages. The moving averages on here looks good. As we can see, all our moving averages are aligned. Our, 200 is below the 100, the 50 is above the 100. And then of course the 21 days above the 50 and the 7 days above the 21. It has a very clear separation. Once they really start to come close together, that's when we kind of have to be a little cautious, especially if you're in that trade. R&R this weekend, Matthew. Yeah, dude, grab a beer, grab your favorite adult beverage, and enjoy the weekend. But yeah, R&R is good, man. I started really, to be honest with you, I started getting dizzy the other day. Just staring at these charts, and it wasn't good at all. Like, started getting a headache and started getting dizzy, and I'm like, yeah, staring at 4 monitors. I'm like, that's not a good thing. I'm like, I need to walk away from this. BTC at the end of the year, man, we got to wait until all this craziness kind of settles down a little bit. End of the year is only, it's not that far away. 3 months away. If, and this is a big if news, out of China and, out of other countries kind of subsides and, we're right back to, where we were several months ago, where we just had a nice upward trend. Of course, then we had a little correction with profit taken, which is healthy. As long as there isn't bad news that's coming out that's causing these massive dips to happen, I don't see why BTC would not be at 6,000 or be close to breaking 6,000. I really don't see why it wouldn't be. I wouldn't say it'll be, 10,000, 50,000 by the end of the year. Eventually, yes, it will, but not anytime soon. But yeah, we need this craziness to kind of subside with what's going to be possibly happening. Oh man, 10. That's a good question, and I'm gonna get back to that Orca, and I'm gonna answer the long-term 10-year plan on kind of what I see, and then I'll have to end this live stream. But that's a very good question. But let me just get to a couple of good questions real quick. Yeah, the 50 days plays a key role. And some people play the 77, so once their 21-day moving average crosses below the 77 or the 50, I like the 50. Yeah, then you should definitely be watching out, especially if you have a position in it. If you don't have a position, it's a perfect time to try to find a position, especially if it gets closer to the 100-day moving average. I really can't talk about fundamentals. But yeah, really, to be honest with you, in this type of market that we're in, Matthew, fundamental and news is going to trump any technical analysis. It really will. Technical analysis kind of goes out the window in this type of market that we're currently in right now. It's all fundamental. It's all news. It's all fake news, all FUD. Anything that's going to be spread is going to cause some sort of a correction, some sort of downward price action movement. If it's good news, of course, it'll be the complete opposite. But yeah, I don't know about IOTA, to be honest with you. I wouldn't look at IOTA and be like, I'll put that on the 10-year plan. It's tough. It's tough to say about IOTA. I would buy IOTA at 30 cents. That's where I would buy it. At, what is it now, 48 cents? Yeah, it has not really picked an interest. What's my favorite beer at the moment? Man, I've been I like the hoppy pale ale. I like Victory, Hop Devil, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. The bitter the beer, the better. But my wife doesn't like those type of beers, so we have Corona, Heineken, Amstel Light. What else? And Beck's. So yeah, I'll drink those, but yeah, I prefer very hoppy, very bitter beer. But yeah, man, I love beer. And actually, I would love to have a beer and chill with you guys, but it's only 11:20 where I'm at. And I got to, run and pick up my 2 kids from school. So yeah, that wouldn't be a good thing. But, maybe if I find time tonight, click on that bell notification. because I might end up doing a live stream where we'll just, grab a beer and grab your favorite adult beverage, and we'll just chill and kind of talk and watch this market and see how it's reacting to certain things. But yeah, tonight I think, I'll if you guys want to join me, make sure you have that post notification clicked on, because if I have the time, I'll just do a live stream. I'll load it up and grab my favorite beer. Well, it won't be the IPA or the the bitter beer that I like, but it'll be like Amstel Light, something we have in the fridge. Let's see, Chris, welcome, by the way. It's great to see new names on here. You're new to this. Finding, got to learn to set up so you can step back, learning process. If I'm understanding the question correctly, yeah, you definitely got to learn, and be patient for the setups. And as long as you can find a good setup, and that's really what trading is. I mean, looking at patterns, looking at setups, especially if you find a, an inverted head and shoulder or a cup and handle, is to really, find the setups, that are going to pay off, that the probability for them to, have an upward move is there, because the history has shown us in the past that, on a nice cup and handle formation, we do have a nice upward move that happens, or, on a nice bull flag wedge, that we do have a nice breakout that happens. So yeah, sometimes you got to really be patient and not just jump onto any and every trade. You have IOTA bought at 85 cents. Yeah, that's a little high. I mean, back then it probably wasn't too high, considering, it came down from what, 120, 110. So let's see. You bought at 85 cents and you just want to get rid of it. So you're trading it, taking the profits and investing into BTC, which isn't bad. When you're at zero, you're going to dump IOTA at a high swing. Yeah, I mean, it's tough with IOTA. I mean, I'm kind of almost in the same situation with SAN. Now, I could have sold SAN, yes, because it did run up to 41 cents, but I do have a long-term outlook on that. But what I really should have done was added to that position at 21 cents. It's really what I should have done. That would have heavily lowered my cost average down to like 26 cents. And then having to go up to 41 cents is a very significant profit. And then I would have started selling off in increments there. But yeah, I mean, always have a game plan. If you bought it at 85 cents, I mean, what was your plan? Was your plan to hold on to it? If it started dropping, or was your plan, to add on to that position and lower your cost average? Now at 30 cents, I would be interested in buying it. And at 30 cents, if you're still holding from 85 cents, you should be looking to add to that position and heavily lower that cost average, so that when it does have a nice upward move, to 80 cents, you're in a profit huge, because you've lowered, somehow, some way lowered your cost average, depending on how much you're going to add on. If it gets to 30 cents, you could easily lower your cost average to 60 cents. And then if it gets up to 80 cents, you're up 20 cents per coin. Matthew, thanks for joining, bud. Thanks for joining, man. And thanks for, your precious time, really. Anybody that's joining me on this live stream, I mean, I really do appreciate it. Got some Shiner Wicked Ram. All right, so I'm going to get back to the question that I was being asked, and that's going to be the last question that I do answer, about the 10-year outlook. So who's asking me about that? Because I want to make sure I address the right person. Where's that comment? Okay, Orca. What's mine or your long-term 10 years view on crypto, especially BTC and ETH? So, BTC, ETH, Litecoin, Monero, Dash, Zcash. I'm trying to think of maybe two other ones. Bitcoin Cash. I would look at those cryptocurrencies on definitely a 10-year outlook. Now, yes, you can trade them, make some money, but you should definitely probably be. And I need to change my strategy, where I should probably be holding some of those things long term. Now, if we really think about a 10-year outlook for BTC, 10 years is a good amount of time, and we've seen what it can do within a matter of 9 months. Really, I mean, if we really take this back down to January, from January to now, and everything that China has been throwing at it left and right, since day one of me really following this cryptocurrency market. And it was really January 1st that I really started heavily following this cryptocurrency market. And that's when I started this YouTube channel. We've seen what it has done. We've seen the move that it has made. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at just the overall chart on this. And we're looking at the overall chart should definitely make anybody smile if they've been holding this long term. I want to get out of GDAX though. So, I mean, it's gone up from basically, $1,000, and that's basically what I sold the BTC that I had on January 1st, sold it, at $1,000. Now, hindsight is 2020, kind of looking at it and be like, man, why did I sell at $1,000? But that was a huge increase. It was a huge run up that it made. But, it went from $1,000 to almost $5,000 within 9 months. Yes, it had those up and down dips. Some of them were violent, big corrections. Some of them were minor corrections, profit taken. But we see that, Bitcoin can withstand a lot of these things that are being thrown at it. And, a central organization, a central government really can't bring it down to its knees. And China has tried to bring it down to its knees. Let me enlarge this a little bit. So if we really think about, what BTC should be worth or could be worth in a matter of 10 years, considering the move that it has already made, and I'm going to see if you guys can figure this out. But I'm going to say, BTC, the value should really be, 1 cent per Satoshi. 1 Satoshi should be worth a penny. And if you guys can do the math and let me know what that would make an actual whole BTC worth, that's really what I would see BTC doing in, the 10-year, 12-year outlook from now, especially with China completely out of this equation. Now, we are going to have to possibly worry about other countries taking the same step, as China's taken. But that could be, a couple years down the road as BTC is starting to break, psychological levels, all key levels of the $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 levels. But it would be, but with China out of the equation, and slowly but surely they are, which is great. I think it's great that they're not going to be, and they don't control much of the volume anymore. But, anything that comes out of their mouth, tends to have some sort of adverse reaction to the price. And we've seen that numerous times. And I think, with them being completely taken out of the picture, not dictating the price action movement of BTC or a lot of these cryptocurrencies, the 10-year outlook is 1 Satoshi should be worth 1 cent. Rocky Mountain. Yeah, dude. $1 million, Now, if you're buying right now and saying, what, I'm going to wait for $1 million, you can't panic, when these massive corrections do happen. Let's just say it gets up to, 6,500 and it corrects to 4,500 bucks. You can't panic and sell because you have a long-term outlook on this. But yeah, 10 to 12 years, a decade from now, there's no reason, especially with mass adoption increasing as rapidly as it has, and it has increased a lot. I mean, I've only really been following this, since January, but I bought it in 2014 when it, basically went up to 1,200 bucks and then crashed to it crashed at 500, and I bought it at 500, but it crashed like 160 bucks, So if we really look at it ever since, December of 2014, because that's really when they got to their all-time low, from there to now, I mean, this is a huge increase. So $1 million BTC, I don't see why not. And, the higher that the BTC price goes up, the less volatile it's going to be. Traders are not going to be trading this. And that's probably why I don't trade BTC, because I think I have a lot of respect for it. And I believe that it's a store of value, not to be traded. Where later on, I mean, people will be able to go out and spend cryptocurrency and not have to worry about, I got to spend this much, because 1 Satoshi is going to be worth 1 cent. BTC dropping to a support of 35.50. So Orca, I mean, to be honest with you, long-term outlook, there's no reason that it can't be worth 1 Satoshi, 1 penny per Satoshi. Let's see, wanted to hold it long term, but as you understand the industry a bit better now you think it won't make it. You think it won't make it? I mean, the only way to really shut down, BTC is to completely shut down the internet. That's really the only way that any central organization can shut it down. And they can't shut down the internet. I mean, they rely on the internet. So, I mean, really, that's the only way they can shut it down. So, I mean, countries can ban it, and, with these decentralized exchanges coming out, it's only going to do good things for it. It's going to take, it's going to put the power back in the people. But now if decentralized exchanges say, what, we're not going to be creating this type of platform, then yeah, I mean, we have stuff that we need to worry about, because then we really can't trade it as much as we would like to. So let me look at a 30-minute chart on this BTC price action. So it broke through. Let's see, hasn't really broken through that. At least what I plotted out, which is really right in between the 50% Fibonacci retracement and the 61% Fibonacci retracement, or 61.8. So we haven't broken through that 3480 yet, but we could easily break through it. What is the LTC doing? Yes, I mean, we're getting these nice little bounces, and if you get into a trade, I mean, you got to take advantage of this and not hold it, hope and wish. And as we can see on this 30-minute chart, that LTC did break out above the 50-day moving average, but it wasn't a massive break. It wasn't a confirmed breakout. So that would tell me, what, take profit at the 50-day moving average. It broke down from this 50-day moving average price point. It broke down, it didn't even go over the 50-day moving average here. And if they do break it, they're only going to break it and then come right back down. So, this is telling me that, that 50-day moving average is a crucial level. And as we can see up here as well too, at 6 a.m., she got above the 50-day moving average just momentarily before breaking back down below it. So that 50-day moving average is going to be a key level. But I'm going to stay on this live stream and see if I can get an entry. Still in the book. I don't know where I'm at with first in, first out. But let's see. We got 7,123 buyers. So let me go ahead and share that with you guys. I hate looking at this chart, but I want to be able to take a look at the order book, the trade history in the order book. So that's where I'm sitting, and I'm only buying 25. That's really all that I'm buying. And then I do have a bunch of orders in for 40, because then that would really heavily lower my cost average to right around 41 and change. But that 45 is still going to be somewhat of support. So, unless she really heavily cracks through it, where selling intensifies, then I'm comfortable buying at that $45, but I'm not buying a lot. So now if I was buying a lot, I would probably be a little worried, because she could crash through it. But if she crashes through it, I do have funds available to be able to add more at a certain price point. But yeah, bots are moving these order book. I mean, this 2797 is moving rapidly through this order book. 2823, 2787. They're trying to get people to jump in and buy above their level. That's basically what they're trying to do. But yeah, big support right now, and I mean, that support has been holding, is the 45. I mean, at one point it was 10,100 at that $45 level. Now, if they start falling off the $45 level, then we know that's not a good support. But it's been pretty steady with the amount of coins that are at that specific price point to be bought out. Check the 1-minute chart on LTC. You're looking at the 1-minute chart. Yeah, that's way too granular. Way too granular for me. Unless I was looking to get out of a trade. Yeah, the 1 minute can drive you crazy. Pending order at 45, yeah. And just be careful. I mean, don't throw everything at it at 45. I mean, we're still in a very uncertain type of market where anything could really happen. Yeah, it's way too, I mean, I try not to pay attention to the 1-minute chart. unless, if I'm going to be looking at only one cryptocurrency and all different time frames, then yes, I will load the 1 minute, but mainly I'll do the 3 minutes. 1 minute is too much. It's too much to deal with. It'll definitely cause you to panic. Yeah, rule of thumb, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. I'm comfortable looking at that. But it's still that 6180 is still going to be somewhat of a support for possibly just a small bounce. I mean, we're still in a very uncertain type of market where I don't really see us, completely having a nice breakout like we did when we hit that low of 2980 and completely broke out to 4115. I mean, those are very significant gains, huge. I don't see that we're going to see that unless, selling really dies down. And I don't think it's going to die down with all this uncertainty that's happening. Yeah, it hasn't really broken trend yet. It's still way below our trend. So that 6180, I mean, could be just a nice little bounce. The 6180 retracement, which is at right around 3430, 3429, and have it come back up to the 50% Fibonacci retracement. That's kind of what I see possibly happening. If it doesn't break through that 6180, if it breaks through the 6180, then yeah, it's going to break it because selling intensifies. Now you just got to remember that if the selling intensifies, it's going to break any support. It really will. So far, I mean, it's not doing too bad. Yes, it's downtrending, but it's not panic selling. We're not seeing just continuously dipping. So, there is selling that's happening, but the selling hasn't really intensified yet, possibly. Yeah, and the crazy thing is, you're right, Orca. We rely on BTC. BTC dips, everything's going to start dipping. If BTC's rising, then others will follow suit and start rising with it. So yeah, it's depending what you're trading and what you're in. It's very good to pay attention to what BTC is doing. All right, guys, it is that time, unfortunately. But I want to thank everybody for joining. Thank you guys for, pounding that like button, especially if you found this information helpful, because you keep coming back for a reason. If you're a repeat viewer, thank you so much. And please pound that like button every time you're on this live stream. But yeah, thank you guys for joining on this Friday. I'm sure you guys could be doing a lot of things with your time, but thank you so much. So, Orca, SE, Rocky Mountain, Hyde, thank you. I'm seeing your comment now. Matthew, I don't think you're on here anymore. Chris, great seeing some new names on here. And if you're new, let me know. Also, on the next live stream, also let me know if you're part of our Slack chat room, because I know some of you guys are part of the Slack chat. Also, you're on this live stream continuously, but the names are different. The name that you're using for YouTube and the name that you're using for the general Slack chat that we have are different. So I might not recognize a name. Some of them, of course I do, because we do converse. But some of you I don't. So if you are part of our Slack chat, yeah, definitely let me know and just say, hey, you know what, I'm part of the Slack, so I can put the names together. But thank you guys for joining. This is Crypto Trader, aka Jonas, in CryptoTraders Room. One of the only places that we eat, drink, sleep, dream, trade, and invest in digital currencies. I want you guys to have a safe weekend. Be safe. Be patient with your trades. And that's really all that I could say. I mean, this is really, we're in an uncertain type of market, an uncertain territory where it could continuously just dip, have a nice little uptick and keep dipping. But, don't go all in, because really we don't know how far this market can actually dip. I mean, it could get down to that $3,000 level if stuff intensifies, in a negative way. So taking small positions here and there is probably the best way to play these. And if you get a nice little uptick, lock in the profits, because continuously it will continue to downtrend, especially if you're growing out your trend lines. And, you're just basically playing the bounce, up to that trend line. And that's all it's doing. That's really what it's going to do until volume surges and buying intensifies. That's when you're going to see the crazy candlesticks. But until then, until Monday, and possibly tonight. So make sure you click on that post notification. I might do a kind of a, just a chill with a beer type of live stream. But thank you guys for joining. I do appreciate it. Dubai Review, you're a little late, but thanks for joining, bud. Thank you so much. Crypto Never Sleeps, awesome name. Yeah, big whales have the power, but we can take that power from them if we can collectively share information and share the knowledge that we do have, because collectively as a whole, we can, somewhat outsmart this market and not be trapped in some of these pump and dumps that are happening. So, share the news, share the knowledge. Knowledge is power. And when we have that power, we can definitely make those informed decisions on our trades and not be stuck. But you guys enjoy your day, enjoy your evening, enjoy your day in general. All right, guys, take care. Thank you.